Welcome to Hawg Huddle, your weekly opinion-based podcast dedicated to all things Razorbacks. From the highs and lows on the field and court to the biggest stories off of it, we've got you covered. Got a question or topic you want us to tackle? Email us or tweet us your thoughts, and we'll bring them into the huddle. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the latest. This is Hawg Huddle. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hawg Huddle, episode 4. Last show before Christmas. Been a long day at work, so I'm going to knock this out and give you something to listen to Monday morning at work or whenever you choose to listen. And we'll go from there, and then everybody can finish up work if they've got it this weekend and go enjoy the holidays with the family and friends. So I'm going to start off with transfer portal. We're going to get that out of the way because the transfer portal is exhausting. I've had about all I can handle of this transfer portal. But Coach Pittman and company have finally got some commitments coming in. Had a couple that excited folks overall. I'm not convinced that we've upgraded at any position this season. Hopefully I'm wrong, and some of these guys coming in have an all SEC season next year. I'm just not sold yet on what we have coming in. The two linemen with D1, Power 4 starting experience, playing experience. I think that'll be nice to have that, considering everything that we've lost on the offensive line. Just no big splash commitments, really. At least in my opinion, no commitments that compare to some of the departures we had. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, it was a 6-6 team. You don't want them guys if they're only good enough to be 6-6. Ole Miss was quick to jump on 3 of them. Oklahoma jumped on Satania. Barry Odom's seen something in Malachi Singleton he really liked. He's going to be Barry's QB up at Purdue. And then Kentucky, they had a lot to improve on, so they grabbed Josh Braun. But we'll see how the season plays out next year. Hopefully I'm eating crow, and as I always said with my buddy MC and Zach, I like my crow smoked with a side of Wright's barbecue sauce. But let's talk about this Braylon Russell situation. Probably the wildest thing I've ever seen in the transfer portal. Says he's not going in to one reporter, Mason Choate. Trey Biddy's sources says he's going in. He jumps in that day and then jumps right back out. Well, then a few days later, he jumps in again. And this week, he has jumped back out. I know it's a podcast, and it's my job to talk to y'all and tell you what I think. But I'm dang near speechless on this. I don't really know what to say about the situation. I do think this is a case of parental interference that's forcing Braylon to make some tough decisions. There's been a lot floating around about his dad. I've seen posts that his dad made in Facebook groups. It's a hard position to be in at 18, 19 years old. I'm 37, and I don't want to be in that position. But he's still a young man with a lot of life experiences and learning ahead of him. And hopefully this situation will teach him some valuable life lessons. And he returns to the team, which he was back in bowl practice this week. But he returns with a renewed focus and motivation to succeed and be all in on being a Razorback. Now, transitioning off of Braylon and into NIL, which played a major role in the decisions him and his family were making. I want to say something about NIL, and I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers. And if you don't agree with me, hit me up on TikTok, hit me up on Twitter. Let me know why I'm wrong, why you think I'm wrong, and what your viewpoint is. And who knows, maybe on the show. But what I have to say about this is I was watching a live stream from another podcast, and one of the speakers said $100 a month ain't much to give to NIL. It's just $25 a week. Let me be very clear on my position here. No one has any right to tell another fan how to spend their hard earned money. This goes for telling blue collar workers and folks living month to month or maybe with a small savings setback. You don't need to tell them how to donate to NIL, how to spend their money. But at the same time, and this one a lot of people aren't going to like, that goes for the fan base, depending on the millionaire and billionaire alumni and connections to do everything. Millionaires and billionaires didn't get to that financial milestone by listening to just any old body off the street. No offense to anybody, but things had to fall a certain way, and they had to have the right people giving them the right information and the right circumstances to get to where they're at. What I will say is I'll call for each and every fan to do what you feel is best for you and your family's financial situation. If you can give $1,000 a month, cool, awesome. Greatly appreciated. Maybe we can get some more talent on the field up there. If you're in a position where you can't give anything because there are bigger priorities in your personal life than Razorback football, 100% understand. I'm right there with you. I don't donate to NIL. If I get to a position where I can, maybe so. But I choose to show that I'm a fan in different ways. I don't donate to NIL. I'm not a foundation member, but as you can see on the wall behind me, if you've watched any TikToks or watched the video version of this podcast on YouTube, I buy Hawg memorabilia. I go to games. Heck, I got a podcast on here talking about the Hogs. That's how I show that I'm a fan. I know some diehard fans, and I've got one in particular in mind, but they may only make a game once every couple of years. They probably don't spend more than $100 a year on merch. But I promise you, that man has bled Razorback red since before I was born. I also know some season ticket holders that have been to more events in a single calendar year than I've been to in my entire life. Not saying either one is more of a fan than the other, because truth is, they both choose to be fans in their own way. So don't let, and I know it's easy with social media. I'm getting kind of tongue tied here, but I'm going to leave it in. It'll make sense in a second. Social media, especially. Oh, you don't agree with this. You're not a fan. Go root for another team. Don't let anybody tell you how to be a fan, me included, because I will get into it with some folks on social media. I am not scared one bit to do it. But you do what you feel is right, and you be a fan the way you want to be a fan. Because at the end of the day, I know it's a lot about money now with the NIL era, but I know there's still kids out there that appreciate just somebody spending their time and their energy to watch them perform the craft that they've worked their whole life to perfect. They appreciate fans just watching them and cheering them on. So I'm going to get off my soapbox on that one. And let's hit the hardwood. So it was a slow week in basketball with just single game Saturday against North Carolina A&T, not the Tar Heels. Tip-off was at 1:30 on Saturday, so of course my wife and I loaded up, hit 49 southbound, headed down to Fayetteville, the basketball palace of Mid-America, Bud Walton Arena. The legend himself, Nolan Richardson, was in attendance. That was really cool to see him out and about. But let's jump into the game real quick. Hogs did exactly what they were supposed to do Saturday against North Carolina A&T. Nelly Davis did set this game out with soreness in his wrist, so that's something to keep an eye on coming out of Christmas break. Trevin Brazile had another solid outing, coming up just one rebound shy of a double-double, and right there in his last few seconds in the game, he had one slip through his fingertips. I was so mad up in the stands. I was really hoping to see TB4 get him a double-double. However, Boogie Flan and Jonas Adu succeeded in getting their own double-doubles. Scoring wise, out of the 8 players who played significant minutes, 7 of them scored in double figures. The 8th being Big Z, he only scored 8, but he was right there. He had some nice looks from 3, just couldn't get anything to fall for him. But great team effort all around. One thing I want to continue to highlight as I talk to y'all is the front court duo of Trevin Brazil and Jonas Adu. Them two out there on the floor at the same time, they are starting to develop a chemistry that is going to be crucial for the Razorbacks in the gauntlet that is the SEC conference schedule. The SEC is unreal, folks. Auburn, who beat Ohio State by like 40 or something like that. I don't remember the score, so don't quote me on that. Ohio State turned around and beat Kentucky. And I believe they've already beat Texas this year. But Auburn, Tennessee, that first game against Tennessee, that's going to be a potential for one of the biggest games of the year, probably the biggest game of the year for the Razorbacks, at least up until that point, and maybe going forward after that. But they're starting to, back to Trevin and Jonas, they're starting to really gel, looking good out there when they're both on the floor at the same time. Jonas did say he was only at about 85% after the game in an interview, but he definitely made his presence felt in the paint against a much smaller North Carolina A&T team. Trevin also has made some strides in his post play. Couple real good plays down in the post for Trevin. He had 9 rebounds. He's getting up there, playing athletic, playing long like he is. Really good to see overall. My favorite play from the game was first half, happened right down in front of us. Trevin Brazil gets the ball in the corner, does a little up fake. 2 defenders bite and go up. Trevin puts the ball on the floor, drives right past them, and just a monster dunk to finish it off. And either that or Adu Thero's fast break dunk where he literally just floated through the air. It seemed like he jumped from the free throw line off to the side. Would be the biggest pop from the crowd. Christmas break, no students, so the crowd left a lot to be desired. It was probably just over 50% capacity. Not a lot of energy in the building, but considering the Saturday before Christmas, you had college football playoff games going on. I'm not going to hold this one against anybody. But going forward, we got to pack out Bud Walton and make it the toughest place to play in the SEC. And the challenge is there because I can promise you Auburn's going to be tough to play in. Ole Miss is going to be tough to play at. Tennessee. Honestly, I don't know of an SEC venue that's going to be easy to play at this year. At the end of the day, though, the Hogs handled their business 95-67, and they'll be back in action Monday, December 30th at 7 p.m. in Bud Walton against the Oakland squad that knocked Coach Cal in Kentucky out of the tournament last year. Well, folks, I know it's been a short one, but it's a holiday week. I know everybody's got stuff going on. Life is crazy. I've worked retail for 20 years now, and trust me, I feel it this week. Holidays are no joke. But before I hit that outro, I want to say thank you so much for taking time to listen to me, sit here and ramble about the Hogs, give my crazy opinions that don't always match up with everybody else's. But I really do appreciate y'all tuning in and listening. As of release of this show, we're at over 90 listens for the first 3 shows. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but to me, it's a big deal. This is just me sitting in front of a camera in my spare bedroom at my house, saying what I got to say, and just reacting to what I see on social media, what I see on the court, on the field, soon to be on the diamond, both softball and baseball. And I don't have any money backing me. I don't have anything like that. Like I said, this is just me sitting in front of a camera. So the fact that somebody cares what I got to say, I think that's pretty cool. I'll close it out today. I want to give a shout out to a few people who have just talked to me about the show and interacted with me about it. Shout out my boys Armando, Brandon, Will, Wyatt, and then everyone listening that I didn't name. Thank you for your support. Be safe in your travels this week. Enjoy time with friends, family. And for my wife, Ashley, and myself, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whichever you prefer. And tune in next week because we'll be breaking down, well, possibly breaking down, depending on how it goes. I may just do a brief stint on it. But we'll be talking about that Liberty Bowl and recording our final show of 2024. So with that, again, thank you for listening in. I know this was a short one. Not a lot going on this week, and I'm too exhausted to keep talking about the transfer portal. But I appreciate y'all. Have safe travels. Enjoy your time. And tune in next Sunday for another episode of Hawg Huddle. Thank you. Let me take this opportunity to say thank you for listening to Hawg Huddle this week. Make sure and subscribe on your favorite podcast provider. Tell your friends and follow us on socials. We're on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.